simply said, Josh, can you tell us the entire history of Fallingtower? Like, how are we supposed to do that in 5 minutes? McCartney 321 was a music god reminiscing with another music god, actually.
McCartney 321 is the very first documentary series that we're reviewing.
McCartney 321. Oh.
I didn't know.
Settle.
You saved best for last, so it's
Yeah.
like
Jen
it could
and
have
then
been
Josh.
gentlemanly if I went first or second. Lose either way. There's no winning.
See, I told you we're the same person now. That's what happened.
Then say what you guys are going to say at the same time.
No, after you, Jen goes.
McCartney 321 was very insightful.
McCartney 321 was like I was eavesdropping backstage.
Oh, you were dropping eaves, eh?
I wasn't dropping no eaves, sir. I promise. That's a Lord of the Rings reference. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Falling Towers. Watch the first podcast, which we watch the first episode of the series so that you don't have to. Michael Kenan Rosenberg is joining us. He's the best dressed man in the internet, really.
I agree.
What can I say? What can I say?
Whatever you want, looking like that.
I'll say thank you.
Humble too, humble and well dressed.
We are joined by actor Josh Sussman.
Hey.
An actress. And Jurassic Park enthusiast. We all know. Jurassic Jennifer Durst.
Hello.
We're also joined.
She's really an influencer.
I guess.
She got shoes recently. She got shoes.
I did. I got shoes from
heels.
Reebok. Shoes from Reebok, shoes from this other company. So I've been getting some cool stuff.
But how cool was that Jurassic Dominion IMAX preview, Jen? I know you must have seen it.
It was amazing.
And we're also joined by co-host and podcaster extraordinaire, Ryan T. Husk.
Well, guys, this is it. So this is what we do. We review shows. And if you'd like us to review a show, everybody in the comments below, tell us what show you would like us to review. Everybody keeps saying My Little Pony, but guess what? We don't want to do My Little Pony, but we will consider it if 10 people put WTF My Little Pony in the comments below. If 10 people do it, we kind of have to do it, right, Michael?
10 is the magic number. That forces us, that twists our arm and makes us do it.
Makes us
do it. Would be unethical if you didn't.
Right, correct.
It's very true. It's very true. So just say WTF My Little Pony in the comments below, or say WTF Fat Albert, or WTF, whatever.
Behind the Attraction.
Yeah, whatever that is. Or WTF the Twilight Zone.
Something Jurassic Park, like Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, you haven't done
an animated season. That's animated.
We can WTF Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh yes.
WTF Wizards and Warriors.
That Wizards of Waverly Place is very good.
Wizards and Warriors was also a very good basketball game. All right, here we go. So let's get started, everybody. This is my favorite part of the show, not just because it's the beginning, but because it's the favorite game.
Is it a game?
It is a game.
It's kind of a game.
This one's a game, though. I think this one's a game.
It's predictions, everybody. We predict. See, Michael and I have known each other for a long time, so we can usually predict if the other guy liked it. We're pretty good at predicting you guys. You guys are pretty good at predicting us. Everybody at home, make your predictions as well. Michael, I predict. Okay. You're a music guy. I think you like the Beatles. I think you like music stuff. I think you were very high on this. I think you like this a lot. Jen, I think you found this to be interesting. if not fun, but mostly interesting. And I think that you will give it moderately high marks because you like everything, but you're not gonna like, tell your friends all about it. Josh, I think that I'd say about the same as Jen, right around the seven mark. You liked it. You weren't blown away, but you enjoyed it. It was fun. What do you think, Michael?
Now it's my turn to make my prediculations. And I know that Ryan likes the Beatles. I don't know that he loves the Beatles. He and I used to be in a band together. We were not the Beatles, and in fact, we were nowhere near the Beatles.
Pretty close, honestly.
But we had fun. That's the most important part, is we had fun. But I do know that
What
we
was the
both
band?
really like.
We were
The
our
band was called
drummer's
Falling
name-
Tower.
Our drummer's name was Pete Best. Actually, yeah, the band was Falling Tower. That's where the name came from.
Yeah. And so, I know he and I have similar musical tastes, not 100% the same, because there are some bands that we differ on, but I know that we both like the Beatles. So I think that Ryan, and I know for a fact that Paul McCartney is Ryan's favorite Beatle. So I am going to say that he's going to give this very high marks. Jen, I don't know too much about your musical tastes, but I'm going to say that you liked it. And Josh, I am also going to say that you liked it.
What do you think, Jen?
Oh, it's my turn. Yeah, this is different because normally we do Marvel or sci-fi stuff. So I kind of get a grasp of what you guys would like. So this is a little different and it's a little trickier. But from hearing Ryan and Michael, who know each other so well, I think this time you guys are gonna like it more than Josh and I. Just that's what I think. So I think Ryan's gonna give it up high. He's definitely gonna watch the second episode. I think the same thing with Michael. I mean, look, he's dressed the part. He's really into it. Josh, I feel like he probably he enjoyed it as an artist. He probably enjoyed the info and nostalgia, all that stuff. So I think everyone's gonna watch the second. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm speaking for you two guys.
Okay,
I don't
Jen,
know.
you're
I'm
giving
not
things
saying
away
anything
here.
about I'm not saying anything about me yet, but
Josh, what do you think? Any predictions?
Well, I think not only did Michael, he watch it all. I think Michael has already watched it all. Michael has consumed all 6 episodes. It's a quick 30 minutes. And so that's Michael. Now, Ryan, I mean, it's impossible not to be influenced by the reveal that Paul McCartney is his favorite Beatle. So knowing that, I mean, that does sway what I'm gonna say.
What if it's not true, though? By the way, that's Guns N' Roses shirt.
Yeah, you're doing that to throw us off. I just want to admire, Ryan, how you're framed perfectly between these two gentlemen. But Ryan, I think you were pretty high on this. I mean, it's great music. I mean, you have great music to listen to. And now Jen revealed earlier that me and her are the same. And so I wonder what she projected onto me. That, yeah, this isn't sci-fi. This isn't Marvel. There's no Loki. There's no Tesseract. There's, So, I mean, it's impossible for her to be bored because you constantly have great music to listen to. But it's all right, it's nothing I haven't heard before, nothing so compelling. It's okay, she's in no rush to watch it again. She did reveal that we'll all watch the second episode, but she's in no rush. And when she does watch it, she might just be, doing something else, be shopping online for Jurassic Park stuff and just have it on in the back of her list.
As she does, yes, yeah.
All right, well, and Josh, to confirm, I was watching the entire time looking for the Tesseract, and I did not find one. I barely paid attention to what they were saying because I was really focused on the Tesseract. Nowhere to be found. If anybody watched this,
that's the problem.
Episode, we'll find out. So, boy, there's a lot to talk about here. There are a lot of claims tossed around. There are a lot of facts and figures. By the way, Michael and I started a band called Fallingtower in 1999. It was, the name Fallingtower was given, we figured it out in the spring of 2000, preceding 9/11. So it has nothing to do with that, preceding it by about 18 months.
It was based on a tarot card reading.
Yeah. So basically, Michael and I are musicians that will probably view this through that lens, I think, more than anything. But I was curious as to your backgrounds, Jen and Josh. Do you
Don't we
like
want to know what this is about, though?
the Beatles? Yeah, I guess you're right. You know what, Michael? Let's finish
Take it
where
away.
we are first.
Take it away.
Everybody at home, Michael is right. This is your last chance to make your predictions. Do you think I liked it, Michael liked it, Jen liked it, and or Josh liked it? Let us know right now. Michael, I am so sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, this is my favorite part, so I have to
That's why I was
raise
trying
a
to forget
stink. Yeah. And this is a long one. Paul McCartney sits down for a rare, in-depth one-on-one with Rick Rubin to discuss his groundbreaking work with the Beatles, the emblematic 70s arena rock of Wings, and his 50 years and counting as a solo artist in this 6-episode series that explores music, creativity, and a unique and revelatory manner. John, Paul, and Rick join Paul and Rick. John, Paul, you think the Beatles. Join Paul and Rick for an intimate conversation about the musicianship, songwriting, ingenuity, influences, and personal relationships that informed the iconic songs that have served as the soundtrack of our lives. In this episode, Paul McCartney shares stories from the early days, shedding new light on his relationships with John Lennon and George Harrison, welcoming an outside musician into the studio, impacts one of the Beatles' most famous songs.
Woo. All right,
Or clap.
now, everybody, you gotta, Josh and Jen, just real quick before we move to the next game. Do you guys play any musical instruments or anything? Are you musicians? Did you like the Beatles as children?
Josh,
I've always loved the Beatles. I mean, I think they're one of the best. I don't play any instruments. I took piano lessons when I was younger.
Tracks.
But I'm not an instrument player. But Beatles, iconic, great,
What about
greatest
you,
of all
Jen?
time.
I do not play instruments. I wish I did. I used to want to play the drums when I was young, but I never did. But I did take piano in high school for like a year or something like that. But all I did was play Mariah Carey songs, which was kind of weird.
You struck me as kind of an opera singer, but I guess not.
Yeah, I can't even. One of my wishes would be that I could sing, and I can't.
No,
Can't sing great.
bummer.
So yeah, but I do. But my mom was very into music. Well, my mom was like a big Bon Jovi fan, but with that came like she just loved music. So I would hear music all the time. So I was like influenced by music in other ways, but I just didn't like learn how to play anything. Although I wish I did.
Everybody at home's like, oh, let's see. Her mom loved Bon Jovi. Jen's accent, she's clearly from Jersey. Okay,
No, I'm not.
Oh,
We get you. Well, whatever. Somewhere around.
Wait,
That's
there.
why I gotta
enough.
leave that
New
there.
York. Oh yeah, and by the way, we're talking about how the number 9 back there is like a reference to the Revolution number 9 by the Beatles. Okay.
See?
Sorry, we've stalled long enough.
Hold on. My dad had a terrible joke that I'll tell right now.
All right.
He used to say, "Oh, my sons both play the guitar. I
Yeah.
play the stereo."
So this is it. Another game, you guys. It's what we expected versus what we got. We just talk about what we expected, and then we talk about what we actually got. Michael, before you watched this first episode of McCartney 321, what did you expect?
I mean, I really expected. I had really no expectations about it, except it was going to be about Paul McCartney, and that we would probably hear some stuff about the Beatles. I mean, Paul McCartney is iconic. He's probably one of the most featured musical guests on Saturday Night Live. He's a Beatle. He's from Wings. He's a great solo artist. And so I really had no expectations about what we would see from Paul McCartney. just that it would be about Paul McCartney, maybe some archival footage of his life as a child and growing up and being in all these iconic bands. And so that's what I expected.
Mhm. What did you expect, Jen?
I didn't have too much. I just expected like documentary style. I expected not to really know that much because I know the Beatles, but not like a lot. So I expected to be like what Josh said, like kind of like on my phone shopping for stuff. And that's what I expected.
Right.
Because like a bunch of people have been telling me to watch this and I never like was like, okay, I gotta go watch it. I'm just
Oh,
doing it for
really?
the show kind of thing. So yeah. So I expected to like not be as interested. So.
Well, as part of your expectations, when the people were telling you got to watch it, did they tell you why? Did they tell you anything about it?
Well, my friends that were telling me are huge Beatles fans or music fans in general. So they were just like, oh my God, it's so good. Like you have to watch it. It's excellent. So it was just, there was nothing specific about it, but I knew it was coming from Beatles fans. So,
Okay.
So they lowered your expectations then.
What about you, Josh? What do you expect before you watch
I
it?
didn't know anything about it. I first heard about it when you mentioned reviewing this episode. So I didn't watch a trailer, but just there was a documentary docu-series about Paul McCartney. So I was just expecting just like a documentary stuff, just like Jen. Oh my God, we're so similar. But I thought maybe we'll get a lot of maybe rare archival footage that maybe we even haven't ever seen before, or clips from them on different shows, or just yeah, just I would maybe biographical. I was expecting maybe we'll have something kind of going through his life, starting from being a kid and just I expect it to be just very kind of like an episode of biography is kind of what I was anticipating. Or each true Hollywood story kind of mixed in, but with maybe because it's in 2021 now, it'll be kind of trendier and cool, fast, cool edits and cuts. Those are my expectations. I was trying to say it cool the way Michael sometimes does. How do you say it? Like
expectations.
Yeah, Michael's so cool.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I expected before I watched it. Absolutely nothing at all, because here's a little secret. I watched it already before, and I think I watched it the day it came out.
How did you watch it before you watched it?
Right. I went on to Hulu one day, and it was just to see what was, whatever. And it just had this thing that said Paul McCartney 321. And so I was just like, oh, okay. What? And I just wanted to just click on it and just see whatever, just check the first 20 or 30 seconds out and see what it was about. So to be honest, I had zero expectations because I didn't even know it existed until 5 seconds before I clicked on it, or 2 seconds. But that's what we expected. I mean,
I just want to say that's such a fun surprise when you could have, there's been some great discoveries that you don't know about, and you're like, what the is this? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you end up watching it. And I feel like that's the closest thing to like when we were kids, you'd be flipping channels and you'd have self-discoveries, right. Whether it's like on HBO or whatever. And I think we don't get that anymore in streaming. So unless it's on the front menu, like Ryan had it, like that's a special experience. You just experience. Kids today are not going to know that.
And I just want to say that, Josh, you are allowed to say spice words on this show.
Yes, you can say what the crap.
Okay. Have you ever heard me say such a word?
I would like to.
Spice words like spices.
Yeah.
Like
holy nice oregano.
Cardamom.
Get the cumin out of here.
I was gonna say cumin,
yeah,
but I always say it wrong.
It differently. Yeah,
I know. I say it wrong.
Yeah, by accident, right, Jen? All right, Jen. What did you?
Wait, it's my turn still.
I'm sorry, I'm getting lost in those beeping.
You have to do the Getchins part.
All right. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, that's what you expected, but what did we actually get?
I got an amazing show filled with great music, amazing stories, and not only that, probably the most interesting part to me was listening to all these iconic songs in different mixes. They must have gotten a hold of original tapes or like made copies of original tapes where they could actually mix the different parts of the songs up and down, so you could hear the bass, you could hear the harmonies, you could hear the guitar soloed out from the rest of the song, and you could really gain a fresh perspective on some of these songs that, like the synopsis said, has been the soundtrack of our lives. So.
Jen, what did you actually get?
I actually paid attention. I didn't shop online. Because like music makes me happy. So part of the feeling that we got to hear like music and mixes and stuff, it just, I don't know what it does to me. It just makes me happy. But also, whether it's like music or acting or anything, just like fame in general and success, I love to know the story of like how it got there. So I feel like hearing the story about him and George and like when he was young and all that stuff, that like is like inspiring to me, because it makes these successful people like so human. And then it makes you think too as yourself, like, oh yeah, like he was just a kid, like a normal kid that loved music on a bus with his friend, and now look at him, he's Paul McCartney, like so successful. So to me, stories like that and documentaries and stuff, that inspires me, and I stay focused on that because I just love to hear the before success. So that's what I got from it.
Actually, correction, he's now Billy Shears, not Paul. So Josh,
Billy Shears.
Josh, what did you actually get?
Well, I got thrown into something that with no introduction or setup, I had no idea who this guy was who looked like, I thought he was like Santa Claus. Apparently, I looked him up. He's Rick Rubin. He's a very successful
He's
music
like the biggest
fellow.
ever, yeah.
I swear we are this. We think
And
alike. I
realized,
was like, who is he?
yeah, and I felt that it was very irresponsible for them not to even tell us or set up. And I know maybe some people will appreciate that, and it's maybe then for the connoisseur. So I didn't think that this was made for the non-connoisseur. This is made for you, assuming, oh, you already know who he is. You know, like even though we know that we're watching Paul McCartney, there's not even a proper introduction. So I was just thrown in to this thing. And in Michael, your description, you said this was a very rare sit-down interview. I listen to Howard Stern regularly, where Paul McCartney is a guest, and I find that I love those conversations. And so what I got was intimate conversations with Paul McCartney, which were not nearly as exciting as what I heard on Howard Stern.
Well, I'll tell you what I got the first time. I got 30 minutes of something that was absolutely mesmerizing and just unbelievably charming. And Josh, when you said eavesdropping, something like that, like we're a fly on a wall getting to hear something that maybe has never been discussed before and maybe never will be again. And I learned some things that I didn't know. Almost everything that was covered was stuff I didn't know. I knew all the songs, but I didn't know all the stories behind them. I didn't know any of the stories of him as a child so much.
Can you pass the salt and pepper? Did you know that?
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. So well, when that was done,
Salt and pepper.
When that was done, I was like, that's when I texted Mike and pretended to play dumb. I was like, hey, there's a new show on Hulu called McCartney 321. We should do that for our show. But that's because I had already seen it. And I was like, dude, we got to do this. This is so cool. So then I watched it again this time and expected the same. And it was about the same. So that's what I actually got, was a very, very good, very charming and interesting and fun and lovely inside.
I really liked, so one thing when I first turned this on, it was kind of loud and I was like turning it down a little bit. I was like, what's going on? But then I turned it back up a little bit, and I'm glad I to like hear the I think the way that it was mixed, the audio was mixed in this documentary is great because like you when they're speaking, it's at a certain level, but then when the music kicks on, it's like another level higher. And I was just like, whoa, wow, cool. The music's super loud, and I was like, yes, I want to hear this music loud because it's great music, and you're really thrown inside of the music. I think that's one of the greatest things about this documentary is you can really get inside of these iconic songs. And I can't say enough good things about the show, but before I start rambling on and gushing about how much I love this show, I'll let Ryan go to his next question. My favorite character, Paul McCartney.
I just want to say about Paul McCartney, he's almost 80 years old.
Right.
And so I haven't seen a lot of modern, I guess, interviews of him, like my Howard, that's just all audio. But he's really cool, and he doesn't seem like a 79-year-old. And if this was done a year prior, then 78 or so he's really, which tells us if we take care of ourselves when we're almost 80 years old, we could be like that.
Yeah, do some psychedelic drugs in your 30s and
you know what? I did say originally in the predictions, Michael, that you're going to be very high on this. And while I was watching this, I was like, there's no way that Michael or any musician that likes the Beatles is not going to be extremely high on this, because you know what? It's not some big, super produced, super flashy thing. It doesn't have, it's just two guys talking. It's just extremely charming and interesting. And it's like you're hanging out with these two legends. And I was like, there's no way Mike isn't going to just absolutely love this. There's no way. I would be shocked. I would be shocked. And every time.
Did you know who that other guy was?
Yeah, Rick Rubin. Yeah. Every time a song started to play, you were very happy to hear it. You know, like you're just like, oh man, yeah, I love this song, or this is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like every point. And
I didn't realize how many Beatles songs I didn't know.
Oh, see,
like
I would have thought that you guys recognized almost all.
I didn't recognize
songs.
all of them. A few, but like the ones that I know the most weren't even in it. What
were the titles of the ones you didn't recognize?
I don't even know like the title. But I'm saying like, but the ones that I do know, like for them, like they weren't really in it. Like they're like famous, popular songs. But then other ones I'm like, oh, I never heard that song. Or, oh, I didn't know the Beatles sang that was the Beatles, like stuff like that. So it was kind of like cool to like hear that. So
well, the songs that they did, I noted them all, were especially because it just jumps right into All My Lovin', which isn't
All My Lovin',
not even one of my favorite Beatles songs, but it was so cool to hear. All My Lovin', We Can Work It Out, Michelle, My Belle, Sgt. Pepper / I Get By With Little Help From My Friends, Act Naturally, I think they just mentioned it. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Obladi Oblada. So We Can Work It Out was a song that I actually learned how to play the drums to, because it has two different time signatures in it. When it goes in, the chorus has two different time signatures. So when I was learning to play the drums, I was like, oh, this is the perfect way to learn. And it was. So out of those songs, since they're only not really any characters, what is your favorite song out of All My Lovin', We Can Work It Out, Michelle, My Belle, Ma Belle, Sgt. Pepper, I Get By With Little Help From My Friends, Act Naturally, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and Obladi Oblada? Jen.
Definitely Obladi Oblada. That's one I'm really familiar with. Yeah. And I love it. It's one of those songs that's like makes me, I think it was like the song of a show. Like it was the opening of a show. And I think that's why
Corky.
I remember
what was the with
with Corky. No, it wasn't the Wonder Years.
It was,
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was that. People might miss it. Like Hulu, they want to skip to the next episode. They were playing Obladi over the end credits of this first episode.
Yeah.
It's a happy thing to hear. Josh, which was
why
your
do they
favorite
give people
song?
The option to All My Lovin'? I think that, and I mean, I Need a Little Help From My Friends. I mean, I know the Wonder Years version, and I wonder how many people just know that from the Wonder Years.
That's the Joe Cocker version.
Joe Cocker,
live Joe Cocker version. Amazing.
Oh, it's a show called Life Goes On.
Life Goes On, right?
Yeah.
Should have done that.
Yeah, Joe
So-
Cocker, I think he sang that version at Woodstock, if I'm not mistaken.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Michael, I predict.
Oh, the live chat is going crazy now for your singing, Ryan.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness. Clap,
stop!
clap,
Stop! Quit it! Mute.
clap.
Oh, they want more.
I
One more
predict that
note.
your favorites
Right.
were.
Ryan's gonna make a prediction here about my favorite song out of all these songs.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Sgt. Pepper.
Well, Ryan knows
That's not a favorite,
well.
that's two. You have to pick. That's not
Yeah.
really picking a
If you had to
favorite.
choose one, which one would you choose?
I can't.
Pick which
because
one's
I'll
his
tell you
favorite.
why. Because While My Guitar Gently Weeps is one of the greatest songs ever written to mankind, whatever. But for some reason, it feels like Sgt. Pepper seems like a dark horse. It seems like a Michael Rosenberg style song.
Okay, well, if Ryan remembers correctly,
Uh-oh.
as I
I don't.
told the world that Paul McCartney is Ryan's favorite Beatle, my favorite Beatle is
Same as mine, actually, George Harrison. Am I right?
so okay. I thought you were a Paul
Wow,
McCartney
that's
guy.
why when you said that, I was like, you're leading them astray.
Oh,
Oh my
Is
okay.
it really?
Uh-oh.
Is it really George Harrison?
Scandal.
Yeah, I'm a George Harrison guy. Yeah.
Me
And
too.
so While My Guitar Gently Weeps, but I didn't know that Eric Clapton played the solo on that too.
Yeah.
And so that makes it even more special to me. But I've always loved George Harrison's guitar work, and I love his songwriting. He was my uncle's favorite Beatle, and that makes it more special to me because my uncle passed away back like years ago. And so, yeah, My Guitar Gently Weeps. While My Guitar Gently Weeps. While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
It's just amazing. And he also
The
does
musical
something, which is
today.
a great one. But I will say it's kind of a tie
And the
between
live
Paul and
Live
George.
chat likes Michael too.
They're going crazy. It's such a musical today.
Yeah, Paul
Yeah,
is
we're
definitely a
lucky.
tie
Thank
with
you for
George,
having
but I like
us.
to say George to give him the love that because most people don't give him the love. A lot of people, I
Right.
think the trendy pick is John. I think that's always the trendy
Right,
pick.
right.
Because he has the story, I think that's why.
Mhm.
I feel like John's the popular one because he has the story behind everything, not about.
So is that your favorite Beatle, Jen?
I don't really have a favorite, but him and Paul were the ones I knew about the most because of all that. So
So much in common.
Josh, is yours Pete Best? Who's beeping? Stop beeping.
Like, how do I stop that on my computer? If you know how, no, come handy. Because I have iMessage set up on my computer, so when people send me text messages,
Yeah, click on message. The
yeah.
iMessage. Click on
I
the
had to
top
take that
left
off mine
of
too.
messages. Then click on
okay, I'm gonna do
preference.
this right now live in this video,
Yeah,
taking a
click
break.
on preferences, then go to account, and then
Wait.
uncheck enable this account.
Is that gonna turn off messages on my
Yeah, but then you
computer?
can just
No.
turn it right back on.
Wait, so I'm in general. I went to preferences and it's general.
No, then
Wait.
then
Play sound
preferences-
effects. Maybe I'm gonna uncheck play sound effects. Maybe that'll do it.
Okay, scary.
Wait.
But
Sorry
just
for
be
the
sure you're
break.
not-
everyone.
Just be sure you're not on Zoom. You're clicking on messages.
Yeah, no, okay. Messages. So you say preferences
It says messages, yeah.
Mhm.
and preferences, and then what did you say again?
And
I
then
don't-
and then click on accounts.
Oh, I just have general and iMessage.
Well, look next to general. There's accounts.
I don't have that.
Okay, then iMessage. Yeah, and click on enable.
I'm
this.
iMessage then, yeah.
Then there's sign out. Okay, I'll sign out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
I think
Um,
that's what I had happening to me too.
Okay, I'm
you
signed out.
guys, you're ruining a very cool show, Jen. Don't add. We're trying to get through this as fast
Yeah.
as possible.
To get through it. It's fun. It's different. We're
No,
getting
but because we took that break, you're not going to hear beeps. We just
Yeah.
that was for the betterment.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But
Thanks.
Josh, who's your favorite Beatle?
Yes.
Well, John Lennon and Paul McCartney are the ones I'm most familiar with, as because me and Jen seem to share a brain. But
You do.
yes, John
So
Lennon.
each of you
You know,
guys
I've
just
always-
have half.
Mhm.
I've always
Yeah,
felt
but-
that, Paul McCartney and Ringo there's been an arrogance to them that have, it's like,
Yeah,
I don't like
'cause they're
How
the only
dare
ones
they
still alive.
stay alive?
Yeah.
No, it's not. There's just an arrogance, and I didn't get the arrogance from him in this one, but just from other things I've heard, third party. So who knows if they're true?
Oh.
And I like Ringo has that famous message about how he's not going to answer fan mail anymore. And I guess when you hear that as a kid, it's like, what? But I get people get so busy, and if they're probably getting, what if he's getting 1 million letters a week? It's impossible to do it. But when you put out an angry message like, I am not going to answer. John Lennon's my favorite. I've never, but then if he lived, who knows if I would, but rumors I would have heard about him that would have swayed my opinion.
He's also not answering fan mail anymore.
Yeah, he decided to stop too. So did George, sadly.
But you don't know if he's haunting anyone.
But in Paul's defense, he is an amazing advocate for animal rights, which is why we love him. And it's because of that I got to see him play live at a little animal rights thing. He played a thing for us he played Wings songs, he played Beatles songs. Beck came out and joined him for a couple songs. And we had our own little private show, Paul McCartney and Wings and Beatles. It was just one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah.
And he does that for us because we love animals and he loves animals too. And he also famously said that if slaughterhouses had glass walls, the whole world would be vegetarian. So
I like that
Paul.
quote.
Anyway, we love Paul is the point.
Yeah.
But then here's the other big question of the day. Besides, we already covered our favorite Beatles song that was on this episode. But what's your favorite Beatles song ever? Mike's going to be like, ugh. Do you have a favorite Beatles song, Michael?
Man.
I know.
Man.
I know.
Man.
E-Man.
Ugh, man. Ugh.
I know. I know.
Wait, let me look real quick here.
It's impossible. Jen and Josh right now are both looking on their phones, like looking at.
I do because I actually wrote the ones that I know the most. So.
Oh, let's hear them. Jen, what's your favorite?
I like Let It Be. And I Want to Hold Your Hand. I love those two. Like
I Want to Hold Your
my
Hand, I
favorite
think was the
favorites.
first one that was publicized or put out on the radio.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. So I think those are my two favorite. And I really do like Obladi, Oblada. It's like fun.
Josh, do you have a favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to hold your hand, and all you need is love. All you need.
I like that one.
Yeah. Okay, I did some looking and some thinking, and I came up with two top tier. I'm not going to say favorite because I don't.
I know.
How could you choose a favorite Beatles song, Josh and Jen? How can you do that to them?
It's for the purpose of the show. It's something like rankings could change all the time. As a good guest, I'm not gonna. You asked me to name my favorite. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't. You know, I came up with something that I believed in, and I'm not dissing the others. I'm a man of commitment.
I'll just quote a lyric. Jai Karu Deva Om.
And I don't know that
Nothing's gonna change my world.
Really?
It's a song called Across the Universe.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I would have not guessed that.
It's a very spiritual song, very close to my heart. And Let It Be is also another spiritual
I'm gonna
song
go
close to
listen
my
to
heart.
Across the Universe after this.
It's really good.
I'm gonna check it out.
So I can't narrow it down either. I can narrow down like Michael said, tears, like Let It Be, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Something as well. At that tier or just below it is like Revolution. We Can Work It Out was another huge one. I mean, there's just too many.
Can't Buy Me Love.
I think I prefer later Beatles songs more than
Me
earlier.
too.
Those were just.
Although the one thing I'll say about the earlier Beatles songs is there's still some complexity to them. If you look at their chord progressions, they're not like simple, straightforward 2 or 3 chord songs. I mean, there's some good complexity even to their older songs.
Mm-hmm.
You like the movie Yesterday?
I love that movie.
Yesterday's a great one.
I saw it on a plane actually, and I loved it.
Scrambled eggs. That's how that song started.
Huh.
And you can hear it in just so when they were talking about While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and they broke it down like it was to 2 different songs.
Yes, that was so good.
And Paul just starts singing nonsense.
I
And
thought of
that's
you
how-
there. I was like, I know Mike loves that part.
That's how I write songs too. Is
Yeah.
you just start singing some nonsense, and then eventually it starts to make sense, and then you put words to it, but at least you get the melody in your head, and then then you can sit down later and write some poetry and put some words to it.
Yeah, and Paul was just riffing. They're just listening to that crunchy bass going.
Yeah.
And then he just starts going like, "What's up, Bubba?" or whatever he was doing. He's just kind of going with it and jiving. Oh, so good.
Mm.
So good. Sorry, Jen and Josh, but it really was. and then Rick Rubin said something funny. He says, a studio musician would have not done that. And Paul says,
Right.
no, he'd have been much more sensible. In
Ryan,
talking about
Michael.
the bass. Yes.
What did you think of there being no introduction to this Rick Rubin guy? They were just supposed to know who he is. I mean,
I agree that it would have been nice for like a little line that just says Rick Rubin, famous musician,
Yeah.
producer.
I think he's
Yeah,
more of
talks-
a producer than
Yes.
anything.
Music producer is what I meant. Music producer
Right.
talks with Paul. Maybe some little thing. You're right. That would have
It
been.
should
Do
have
you think
been.
there were discussions, and Paul McCartney, who's like an executive producer on this, they're like, nope, I won't have that. People know who you are. You're a legend. Do you think there were discussions about if they should do it and they decided not to?
I don't know. But I will say, just real quick, to point out what an amazing man he is. I just pulled up Rick Rubin. Here are a list of some of the bands he has produced. The Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Slayer.
Beastie Boys is how I remember first hearing about him.
Yeah, and Slayer, Danzig, Public Enemy, The Cult, Black Crowes, did I say Danzig? Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Well,
Sir Mix-a-Lot. I mean, it
Well,
really
he's done
goes.
well for himself.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Joan Jett, Mick
Successful.
Jagger, way more Tom Petty, Danzig, Slayer, more Sir Mix-a-Lot, Johnny Cash. I mean, it just goes on. Sheryl Crow, System of a Down, by the way, one of my favorites ever. So anyway, and this is just
I like this song, Such a Lonely Day.
80s
I
and
met System
90s.
of a Down once at a
Hmm.
party function.
Limp
in a
Bizkit,
tent.
Metallica, Slipknot,
he's still going.
Weezer, Audio Slave,
That's it.
Kanye West, the Mars Volta, Kid Rock,
Ah.
Lincoln. Anyway, you guys get
That's
it.
why he has
It
no
just
time to shave.
shows-
He's producing so many.
He has no time to wear shoes either. He's like barefoot in this.
I
series.
noticed the barefoot thing more than anything. I was like, why is he
Wu-Tang
wearing
Clan,
shoes?
Ed
Wu-Tang.
Sheeran, Lady Gaga, Eminem, Black Sabbath, ZZ Top.
We get it.
He looks like a ZZ
famous,
Top.
He's successful.
The Strokes,
Yeah, but if you
Imagine
don't really-
Dragons.
But if you don't really know music, I don't think people most really know what a music producer
Exactly.
does. And a music producer, for those of you out there that aren't really familiar, a music producer takes the song that somebody created and they make it better.
Mhm.
So in this series, they give the example of the Beatles producer, George Martin, and he helped them come up with the melodies. He's like, okay, Paul's singing this, so George, you sing this, and John will sing this. And so that way all the melodies meld together. And that's the producer that does that. They have these ideas. What if we did this kind of thing? And that helps to just make the songs better.
And he was demonstrating a lot of what he does, which was playing with the mix. And like you were
Right.
saying earlier, Michael, it was really cool. I mean, it was funny how you're like, how did they get a hold of those original tapes? But it's like, well, you got Paul McCartney and Rick
Right,
Rubin. I
right,
think between the
right.
two of them, they could get Beatles songs, original
Right.
Beatles.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was so cool for them to be able to like isolate the bass or isolate the vocals or listen to John's jingle jangle going on.
Mhm.
And it was magical. I thought it was
Mhm.
magic.
Ooh,
Mesmerizing.
I ask a
Agreed.
trivia question.
Yes.
Okay.
And you could in the live chat you could answer down below or anyone
Lana
here.
Del Rey,
Oh,
Who
Adele.
owned the Beatles archive, or who owned it before?
Well, Michael
they died?
Jackson bought a
That was
lot of
the answer
it.
I was looking for.
But I think that Paul McCartney had bought it back after he died or something like that.
Oh, and I'll tell you, trivia. It's not from Glee. They couldn't use Beatles music until after Michael Jackson died because I guess the estate wouldn't want to sell it for whatever reason. But after he died, right after he died, their first episodes back, they had Beatles music.
That's very interesting.
How would you know that though?
Just a little.
I
He's
watched
just
the show.
thought about it.
I followed the show.
He knows a little bit about Glee, just a little.
I'm just looking
A
at
titty.
bands.
I was gonna say
That sounded
A
like a
tad.
spice word. A turmeric.
I was gonna say a tad, like a little bit, a tad, and I mixed the tad and little together and said,
What is this, baby talk? Together.
"What's wrong with me today?"
I also get Tad mixed up all the time with.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
mixed up with
Yeah.
tittle tattle.
Like tab the drink from the 80s.
Okay,
the soda.
I've got
Yeah,
a trivia
exactly.
question.
Garlic.
I've got
Clove.
a trivia question that either Mike or nobody will get.
Okay.
thanks.
Watch Josh or me get it. What?
I'm just gonna be on my phone then because I'm not.
Okay,
one.
well, no, I mean, they can guess first while Mike's thinking.
Okay.
There was a falling tower Easter egg in this first episode of McCartney 321. There was a falling tower Easter egg. A true Falling Tower fan or connoisseur or person who knows all the Falling Tower songs would have caught the Falling Tower Easter egg. Mike seems puzzled, so I'm going to give him a hint. There was a previous Falling Tower song that we have performed that was not just mentioned, but discussed, was a point in a story in this first episode.
I have no idea.
When Paul was talking about he and George on the bus, and they would go and they would stop at like the convenience store, and they were talking about thinking
They
of
made the
Lincoln,
song.
right?
Mhm.
But then right before that, they said we would go to this convenience store and we would buy a tin of rice pudding. Look at Mike's face. I knew it.
Oh, okay. Rice pudding.
Rice pudding. I was like, whoa, an
Yeah.
FT. We had a song called Rice Pudding.
Yeah.
Oh.
This song that we wrote called Rice Pudding
Was
was
actually
based
written by someone
on-
else.
the song the lyrics were written by somebody else. It was a memo that Ryan received at his work when he was working at the gardens on Glendon.
Restaurant.
Yeah,
in
and it was a
Westwood.
restaurant. He used to be a waiter, and it was like, hey, you guys need to push rice pudding.
The dessert.
People,
And it was such a
people
silly
keep-
memo.
yeah.
They're like, you have to describe the rice pudding like this, and you have to say it's highly addictive. And so we saw this. We're like, this looks like a song, like the lyrics of a silly song. So we just got the exact lyrics, didn't change anything, and wrote a song around it.
And where
I
can we
think-
hear this song?
I think it's one of the very first songs on this, unless it got taken down off our YouTube, but it might be
No,
one of our very
no,
Give us
it's,
a
it's
li-
I think it's still on YouTube. Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to check this out.
just when we did
Just a little
it's,
taste.
it's a pretty bad recording of a live performance we did, just he and I at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Hollywood.
Mhm.
But anyway, so that was the fun.
Josh
thing.
said he wants a taste of rice pudding.
It's highly
Ah.
addictive. You can't just have one taste.
No.
When I use the word taste as in like a sample, do a couple lines, give us a couple
You just-
bars.
I wish we had time.
I wish I remembered it.
Yeah, right.
It
I
was,
think I
Oh,
remember
the
how to
line
play it.
everyone's
wait.
asking for.
Oh, look, everyone
The
wants
first
you to
line
do it.
was the first line I just remembered. Okay, just so you guys get an idea, the first line was the recitation for desserts has
Oh.
gone awry.
The recitation for desserts has gone awry.
Who writes a memo out to their staff saying the recitation for desserts has gone awry? Just the fact that you used recitation as the
Yeah.
first thing in a memo, get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Anyway,
Just
they were very
compensate.
So glad you made that song.
And so Ryan would be like, the recitation for desserts has gone, and I would, the recitation for desserts has gone awry.
and I would go down, has gone awry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, wait, the rest station board is there. It's
Encore.
gone around.
I need to download this on iTunes.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, I wish it were on iTunes.
I'm
Anyway,
gonna go on to Napster.
Rest Station 4 has
Napster,
gone
LimeWire.
awry. Something now.
I can
we
remember how it
gonna
goes.
do.
but I can't remember the lines.
Oh well.
Anyway,
Yeah, Ryan, you were dreamy when you were doing that. I could see you being just a heartthrob if you get
Oh,
the
yeah.
song tapped
And now we
together.
want to get them back in line or something like that.
yeah, it was.
I have
want
to
to look
hear
it
it.
up. Anyway,
I'm gonna look it up once we get off.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've got the lyrics somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you must. Yeah. Hopefully
Anyway,
you do.
while I'm doing that, final question before we move on, and we'll start with Michael because he's always the bravest guy of all of us. What was your favorite moment of this episode? What was your favorite Mick moment?
Well, I've already mentioned it, and I guess you could probably guess is that when they started mixing down the different parts of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and then Paul McCartney starts just riffing. Just yelling out gibberish, which is how that's my songwriting process too. That's I love that process. You're throwing up anything, just getting anything out so that you have something to work with. And I know that that's how he works because the song Yesterday started out as Scrambled Eggs.
Right.
Scrambled eggs. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's one of my favorite aspects of creativity is just starting with trash and then working it into something beautiful.
What about you, Jen?
That's why I say there's no bad ideas because from
Go ahead, Josh. You stopped yourself.
I just
Did you mute
snorted.
yourself,
Thank God
Josh?
no one heard.
No, we missed it.
Josh was taught. You said there's no bad ideas.
oh, I think my internet was on a delay, so I don't know if it would slow down. No, I was just adding on when Michael was talking about how one thing and with the trash, and that's what I wonder if it was a delay. Oh, but anyway, I was thinking, yeah, there's no bad ideas. Like anything, like if I'm brainstorming with someone, if someone's like, that's a stupid idea, I'm like, no, there's no stupid ideas because you might from that think, oh, what if we did that? So
Right.
I do love that aspect. I love that aspect, how you could make anything, be creative from anything.
I often use the term, there's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
No,
Yes.
I mean
Jen?
that's what like. So I know Josh was saying he loved that part too, but I do love the pass the salt and pepper thing.
Yes.
That was like something that stuck out for me. But also like seeing him, I don't know if he was just throwing out lyrics or actually singing them, but his energy when he was doing that, I felt like he was like reminiscing so far into those days that I don't know, it gave me like the feels. So I love that part. Like it made me feel like, oh, he's going back, like he's remembering all this, and I don't know, it just felt like he went back into when he was younger and the Beatles and all that stuff. So it just gave me like all the feels because he was just so into it and just like singing and like, I don't know, it was just his energy in those parts that I really like admired. And like I said, it gave me the feels. I was like, oh, he's going back into time right now. He's just going. So I really love that part too. And I love the story about him on the bus with George and how they're the only two that really like loved music. I love that part too. So it was a few to choose from.
Yeah, it wasn't just that they were talking about the Beatles and giving us these inside scoops, but it was like a traveling into the past. You know what I mean? And just like,
and you could tell he was feeling it. Like I felt like he went back there. Like he became that when he was talking about it or singing or whatever he was doing. So
yeah. I can't think of a favorite, but definitely when they would dissect the music was really cool. And the one that Michael mentioned, that was the one that really grabbed me when they were isolating the bass and Paul just starts jiving to it. I definitely listened to that a couple times. Like I rewound it and played it because I was like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good jam right there, man. And he just throws it out, but he's right. just listen to that crunchy bass is a totally different, takes the song in a different direction. So really just when they're dissecting the songs and when they're taking us on a journey, you know, when they're just taking us on these journeys of him, you know, and the rest of the Beatles as children. Oh, and also when they gave us a little bit of insight into this rivalry with the Beach Boys. That was really cool. And he says, especially with Brian, and we know that's Brian Wilson. And they're like, hey, man, when they came out with Good Vibrations, that was legit. So we had to step it up. And it's so cool that it's like a transatlantic competition kind of rivalry.
It's like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Oh,
No,
Can we just cut this?
Way.
Can
We're
start
talking about
over?
a
We need to start
completely
over.
different
It was
level
Backstreet
here.
Boys
Start
and
the
NSYNC
entire-
rivalry.
Yeah, we need to
well,
start.
they have plenty
this
of
whole thing
Grammys.
over.
Michael, was this a diss towards NSYNC and Backstreet?
Grammy doesn't mean anything.
But,
Well, I
wanna
want to
say-
hear what Josh's favorite part was.
Well, in this in a docu series, especially like this one, which is like just a long conversation, it's really hard to choose like a favorite part. Where it's like that's why I would, in trying to answer that, it's a specific thing like the salt and pepper and how that was a misunderstanding, and so that's funny. So that's a favorite moment that stood out. Like, oh wow, because I've always known of Sergeant Pepper, but never knew that it just came from this thing, and he liked the character. That sounds like it was some character or whatever. And I also like the aspect that he was so happy to be talking about all of this and like going back to his youth and remembering. Or sometimes you could imagine someone like, oh, that was so long ago, I don't want to talk about that. But the fact that he was talking about it so fondly was really nice, and I really
It was
Yeah,
real.
It's cool that
liked
like
it, and that there wasn't anything that seemed.
yeah, we and Michael knows, as when we're coming up with songs, they just come out of every single direction. Everything can turn into a song, whether it's a dream or
Rice
whether it's
pudding.
misunderstanding someone, or somebody writes something that's just so silly. In a way of mocking them, you just write a song out of that because you're like, this is the silliest thing I've ever read. It's got to be a song. Or anything. I used to write songs out of phone numbers. My friends' phone numbers, I would just turn them into songs. I would just change them into chord, steps.
Chord progressions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So like if the first number was a 7, I would make that a B, because that would be the 7th step up, from an open E, and then just go from there. But what was it? There was something else that was a really good moment, Michael, that I thought of you when they did it, and it wasn't the salt and pepper, and it was right, when they go into the music store and the guy just plays this one chord and they go, what was that? We're just kind of right, because we've done that before. Somebody's like,
right.
Anybody that's learned how to play guitar, or probably any instrument that has chords instead of just notes, the coolest thing in the world is going like, hey, I learned a new chord today. And you're like, oh, check it out. Wait, what is it? It's an F suspended 6. Whoa, weird, and then you just kind of share that new chord that you learned. And then you can write a song out of that too. You just, one chord can inspire a song.
I think that's actually the song Rice Pudding. One of the things I liked about that is the first time I ever was able to use a diminished chord.
And I think it was only 2 chords for the entire song.
Most of the song was 2 chords. I think there was like later on there was a couple more chords, but.
And one final thing I want to bring up: Edith Piaf, one of the best French musicians ever.
I know Ryan loved all that French stuff. Yeah.
They were talking about Edith Piaf and her song Milord, which is one of the best songs ever by one of the best musicians ever. And then Paul McCartney's like, I could trick anyone into thinking I'm French by wearing a black turtleneck. Yeah.
I was trying to look up Rice Pudding by Fallingtower, but I didn't have any success. So I'm going to try harder when I get off.
I think you have to go to our channel and search
I think
our
I'm going to
channel
go to your channel and find it. Because I'm curious. I was going to play it for all of you.
Oh.
No, they don't want to hear that. It's not a very good recording, and it's on some camera that was up in the corner, and it was pretty bad, but pretty funny. All right.
I find it.
Look how weird Jen is right now. All right. So it is now time to talk to you, Josh Sussman.
What about, I have an idea, and I don't know, this wasn't pre-discussed, but because I've been on before, and Jen's been on before, I've talked about myself, Jen's talked about herself. What if me and Jen interview you and talk to you about things, the hosts of things that we never get to hear about? How does that sound? We turn the tables on you.
So I think we should do it.
This idea. and we don't have anything prepared, so it's just gonna be whatever we ask you.
I actually have a list of questions.
Oh, you have a list. Okay, Josh, go for it.
Mike, we don't have a choice, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a mutiny.
No, that was actually acting. I don't have a list. So you
I was
believe it.
acting too. We do have a choice. No.
Yeah.
No, okay, that sounds fun. Go for it.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do
so
it.
we'll go back and forth answering questions. Okay, so this one is for Michael and Ryan, whoever answers first. What are you most excited about in the rest of 2021? What's something that you're most excited to or looking forward to? So it could be an upcoming movie, it could be an upcoming vacation, an upcoming gig, an upcoming whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
guess
yep.
Mike's leaving it to me. If we're gonna keep it focused on Fallingtower, what I would say is us signing with a multi-channel network any day now, or any month now, depending on how things have kind of dragged. But that's a very interesting and exciting thing, possibly. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, we saw a lot to discuss about that still, but
Yes, we do.
so
Jen's
that will be
"There's
exciting.
tension here.
Yeah.
Are you not happy that Ryan is revealing too much, like talking about
No,
something
no,
before
I don't
it
really care
happens?
about that. It's just there's not really been much progress in our negotiations with the multi-channel networks so far. So
But you
it's
never
just,
know. So he's excited about going further. So there's hope.
he's excited about the prospect,
with
and I'm
this-
excited about the prospect as well, because that could mean some big things for Falling Towers channel. But as yet, it's been very difficult to go back and forth with this one channel in particular. So
Yeah, we've had a few channels kind of pitch us and whatever, and we kind of anyway. The point is, it's like if it were a song, it's so close and yet so far, right?
And what would this mean for the Falling Tower audience?
Just growth. I mean, it's mostly going to be internal growth on our part, and more tools and more connections for us to grow the channel and the brand. So for you guys, it would just be a bigger brand and more product and more content, by the way, which we've been holding on to for this. Feels like forever, but we're holding on to releasing much more content for the fans. Good question.
Nice.
And bigger
Yes.
budget, maybe. Can we look forward to maybe more sketches, which I know I've racked up so many, millions and millions of views. If you go to the videos, top videos, you have, I mean, some really funny sketches. Can we look forward to more?
I don't know about that immediately.
Maybe.
What do you think, Michael? Because Michael is up in Portland, so
Oregon, yeah.
we might be doing some sketches sometime down the road again, I would guess, but certainly not anytime soon, I don't think. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the idea of sketches. There's not too much of a return on investment within sketches, because it's like a huge time investment, mostly time, but it's such a huge time investment to shoot it and edit it, and editing is the worst part, and that I hate to do, and that's why these podcasts are very edited very shortly,
And they're
not a lot.
That's
They're fun. It's a good idea.
Lies the secret of moving into the podcast format, is rather than spending 3 months to shoot 5 minutes, we spend 1 hour to shoot 1 hour. It's pretty nice.
And it's a good idea, by the way, watching the first. I really like that idea. So that's really good. I actually have a question for you regarding music. See, this is the perfect episode to interview you guys. So what made you guys create Fallingtower? I don't know if we discussed this before. And then along with that, how did it like end as well? So like
I
what
can
created
field this
it?
one.
Yeah. Okay, go
So Ryan and I were both in a guitar class at our
Mhm.
high school, Piedmont Hills High School, under the tutelage of what was his name, Jerry
Snyder?
something. Jerry
Snyder?
Snyder, yeah, very prolific guitar teacher in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, and yeah, so we both had guitars. We both knew that we knew how to play guitars, and actually after high school, we just started hanging out a lot, just for fun. Like we were in the same circle of friends, and we would hang out all the time and go get drunk and stoned and all that kind of stuff, fun stuff.
What?
And and Ryan one day is like, hey, you want to jam sometime? And I was like, yeah, sure. I brought my guitar and my amp over, and
Yeah.
he
'Cause
had
we
his
both had
electric guitar
jammed
and amp.
with other people in the past.
Right.
And then, you know, it's kind of whatever. But then we're like, well, we hang out all the time. We get along. We have guitars. We should probably consider just jamming together.
Yeah.
And it
So we
worked out pretty
jammed
well.
once, and then
Just like Paul and George.
well,
Just
like Paul.
we're both mates on the bus. And we jammed one time, and then we liked it. We really had a real fun, good time jamming.
Good musical connection. Really, it went.
Yeah.
It worked together very well and very easily.
Right. And so I think that I don't even know if we had to jam again. I think we were just like, let's just start a band. And so we started a band. We a friend of mine, a friend that I knew, he had a drum set, and so we invited him over to play drums with us. And then once we started writing more songs, and we started getting really serious. And so we started auditioning bass players, and we found a bass player that we were really connected with. And then we're jamming like twice a week, maybe even more than that, especially once we started playing shows.
Recorded a good album. Yeah.
Yeah,
We actually recorded our album before we had a bass player, because we had a bass player for a while.
True.
And then we set up the recording, but then the bass player didn't work out, so we recorded bass. And
so why didn't they work out? Were they like a jerk? Were they not punctual?
No, I think they just like they wanted to do something else or something like that.
They were flaky. There are a lot of flaky people in the music industry because there's no real stakes.
Are you just being proper in case they're listening? They're not listening.
Everybody's listening.
No, yeah,
he's cool. No, they were all cool. Everybody was cool. It's just a lot of times people flake out and you just kind of move on, or people there's like.
When was the last time you talked to this flake?
Maybe 20 years.
yeah.
Flakes.
Yeah.
So anyway, we played shows for a little while as a full band, and then I think the drummer quit, and then the bass player quit, and then I quit, and then Ryan started another band.
Now, before quitting, was there resentment? Like, everyone's quitting. Is Ryan going to think I'm abandoning him, the band? Like, was there resentment when people left for the first time?
I don't know if Ryan resented me. We might find out some drama right now, but I think for me, I was just like, man, I don't really want to start all over again, finding a new drummer, finding a new bass player. I was going to college at the time, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on college and graduate from college. But then Ryan had a band. That band broke up, and Ryan moved down to LA to pursue music. And I had graduated college, and then I was like, what am I going to do? And so I was like, oh, I should probably move down to LA too with Ryan. We can get the band back together. And then I did. I started doing stand-up comedy too before I moved down to LA. And then I moved down to LA, and then we got the band back together as an acoustic duo. And we were thinking
like a Tenacious D kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Tenacious D, or Flight of the Conchords. And we're thinking, oh, should we change the name? Should we come up with a new name? And we're just like, you know what? We're Fallingtower. It was always us two anyway that really started the band, came up with the name, and was the glue that held the band together. So we just decided to just still be Fallingtower. And then we played a few shows down in LA, and it just kind of petered out. We started making films and stuff. And
I think part of the reason why we kept the name Fallingtower too was even between that, we recorded like acoustic songs, so we were still kind of just we were still kind of jamming as Falling Tower. So we were recording like old Falling Tower songs that had never been recorded before. So we just kind of kept it going. And as Michael said, when, I had a band and so I'd be playing with that band, but then I had the full setup there. So we're like, hey, let's record some acoustic songs just for fun. And so I think that was part of the reason, was because it kind of kept going, even though we kind of veered off and did our own things for a while. We were still always, keeping the Falling Tower banner alive. And then when down in LA, when we started jamming again and playing a few shows, then Mike's like, hey, I got a video camera. We can just start recording stuff for fun, like silly sketches and silly things. And so we started doing that. And then we just kind of started doing that more and more. And the music kind of went away. And then we started going into acting and producing in different directions. And so it kind of just went into that direction. Long ass story though.
Falling Tower is a
Good
great
one. Now we
country.
know.
But that's
And
because
that's the
there's 20
story
years
of Falling Tower, mostly.
if you
or the
guys
band.
want to know the story of the early years of Falling Tower, it's actually up on our
Website.
Facebook page and website.
Oh, nice.
Easiest way is if you just go to facebook.com/Falling Tower and you look, and we didn't end up finishing it because it takes forever, but you can see the
But it
first
is
few
all up
months.
on the website though, the whole thing. That you gave
But
me.
I
I'm
know what
saying
I'm doing when I get off here.
Anyway, that was
Watching rice pudding and
Roger
reading.
Rice Pudding. You guys should do you have a music video for Rice Pudding?
It's
Because I
just
think
that-
we should do that. And Josh and I should
Yes.
star in it.
Maybe when
That's
you get your larger budgets, with these network deals worked out, rice pudding music video, that's a lot. That's something worthy for launching.
It could be a waiter, just like how it was. Josh and I could be at dinner. We could order rice pudding.
I could be his
Of course.
manager. I can come in. Listen, Ryan, the recitation
You're the
for desserts
manager.
has gone awry.
And the engagement
Yeah.
ring is in the rice pudding.
Oh
which is
yeah,
beautiful.
see, we
So,
just
guys-
made your music video.
real quick. You can look at fallingtower.net or you can go
You don't
Just to
care
get
about
it.
our music video.
no, I really don't. Just to get an idea, so you go to Falling Tower here or fallingtower.net. You can click on photos and then right here FT20, because that was 20 years of Falling Tower, and each one of these was like
Oh my goodness,
a
how did I not
moment-
know about this?
a moment in time.
Oh yeah, Euro Trash was going to originally
our
be our
first
name.
name. Yeah, but
How many
then-
windows do you have?
I know, I was just saying how many windows, that would drive
do
me
a lot of
crazy
fun-
to have
anyway,
way too many windows open.
And then there you go. You like get a little story. So everything is just broken down into sections of time. Our first time jamming, 1999 in 2000.
Darth Maul's
New Year's Eve.
Trial, Sleep Like a Pig,
Those were our song names.
Wussy.
Wasted.
Jen, I
Wasted
think
was
Like
Ryan-
Ryan's house.
Wasted was a good one actually. There's a Wasted music video up on our website as well.
And
Up
Darth
on our
Maul's Trial
YouTube.
kind of. Anyway, we're going way over time, but thank you
But
for
that's
the
that's
interview.
great.
That was a
Yeah,
lot
no,
of
they
fun.
jumped at the opportunity to talk about themselves instead of.
Oh.
Yeah, he jumped at that.
Well,
It
you
was
asked-
bad.
It's
You
been
basically
building
said,
up.
You basically said, Josh, can you tell us the entire history of Falling Tower? Like, how are we supposed to do that in 5 minutes? So there's way more.
Well, I
to
think
it.
everybody below should write that they want a rice pudding music video. They want to hear rice pudding.
You can hear
And I
it.
think
It's
they're
up on
writing
YouTube.
it down.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, or fallingtower.net. You can find it all there. Anyway, it's a fun read, I think, just to see kind of like, that's also a blast from the past, like 20 years ago, like the forming of bands and how it all kind of changing the names and changing band members. And you'll get your answers about the first bass player and all that there, Josh.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Can you just put the link to that in your Facebook and everything just in the description? Make it so easy in this in the description for this, rather than going through all these hoops and steps.
Definitely.
And
And
seeing all I didn't see anything you posted except for all the window thing that you had.
Go to fallingtower.net,
Okay.
click on bio, click on the other thing.
yeah.
Too much.
So much
Or
for
just
just put it
go-
in the description.
Or just go, we will, or go to facebook.com/fallingtower, click on photos, because there are little photos that you read, and then you can just see, you click on that and you can read them all.
We just want to
Anyway.
make it easy for everyone. Yes.
Right. Speaking
Yeah, we're
of
looking out for
easy-
you guys.
Speaking
The
of easy,
viewer.
Michael, you know what time it is, right?
Bottom line.
Whew, we did it. We got to get to that bottom line. It's the terrible twos. It's the final two questions of the show. Here we go. Question number one is, by the way, we're talking about McCartney 321.
Not about Fallingtower.
Yeah.
This is like a 3-hour episode, guys. Sorry.
So no, it's not really that much longer.
I'm
than
just
most.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Good joke.
Question number one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what would you give the first episode of McCartney 321 entitled These Things Bring You Together?
It brought me together with myself and my feelings for sure. And before I tell you my answer,
I think I know your
it's
answer.
obvious that I loved this. I think Ryan can guess what I'm going to do here. But I think one of the best things about this is that we're getting all this great stuff on video. We're getting all these stories recorded for posterity before they're lost, because, you know, Paul McCartney's No Spring Chicken,
Right.
half of the Beatles are gone already. And so I'm glad that we are getting this stuff down so that it's for the rest of the world, for the rest of all time. And with that, probably not a huge surprise, but probably a surprise to some, that I'm going to give my highest score ever,
I knew
my
that
very
too.
first perfect score, 10 out of 10.
I knew it.
Knew it.
I knew you knew it. I knew you knew.
I knew it. Okay, Jen, what would you give this first
So
episode
just
of
going
McCartney?
by the episode itself, the stuff that was going on in it, the way it was shot, all that stuff, I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Solid.
Mhm.
Josh, your thoughts?
Okay. The music is incredible. And so it's great to listen to the music. I love the music. I wasn't as wowed by the stories and any of that, but just because the music is so good, it's impossible to not like it, but it's also not, I wasn't loving it the way you guys were. So I'm going to give a completely neutral 5, which is, and it's just, yeah, it's completely in the middle.
Michael's face.
Oh, I just got a notification. My internet is unstable, so I hope you're able to hear
That's
me.
okay. We didn't catch. What'd you say? 9.5? I think I heard a 9.5. Wow. Very
All
good.
right, 9.5. All right, Josh.
So that's okay. We're not mad. 5. That's okay.
I'm a little mad.
Scale of 1 to
Oh,
10.
no, but
though.
Ryan once said that he liked something. I think it was when we did debris, and he gave it less than a 5.
Yeah,
he had
he
like
did.
4.5 and claimed he liked it. So spice words. So
Spice.
Marajan, thyme,
What the
Okay.
fennel?
parsley.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Sage.
So,
Ryan gave it a 10.10.
guess that would be a 10.1, really. Okay, so look, the reason I knew Michael was going to give his first 10 is because this is a 10. There's nothing I could possibly give it other than a 10 from the moment I watched it. Like when it ended, I may have said it out loud to myself. Everybody, you guys all talk to yourself. Don't act like this is weird. I think I was just like, that was a 10. That's a 10. I mean, there's no, you can nitpick as much as you want it, but it didn't need big production. It didn't need any of this. You just sit down and you watch it. It's a 10 because, well, at least for me, I'm just speaking for myself. I watched it and it took me away. I enjoyed it. The way I know it was a 10, it was because there's absolutely nothing that could have come out of my brain that would have improved that product. So to me, that means it was perfect because I could not improve.
What if it
upon
was in
and
color?
I liked it.
I liked the fact that it was black and white,
I
but
like
then
that.
the archival footage was in color too. That was
Yeah.
an interesting juxtaposition to me and an interesting choice.
Yeah. So very, very,
He's more
very
into
10.
it, I guess.
Easiest. This was the easiest thing I've ever given. 10. No, there was just,
I knew
There's no
you guys
question.
were gonna love this way more than Josh and I.
yeah.
And I know
But
they
that's
like,
great.
now
We
that-
want that. We want that
whole
diversity of
series.
voices. Yeah.
The tables have turned.
I update. When I said Michael has watched all 6, Ryan has also
Yeah.
watched all 6.
Mhm.
We'll see right now.
And also from now on, every guest, you guys have to interview us. Sorry, you got to come prepared too. You can't ask the same question that's been asked before. You got to come up with something new. And if we don't like the question, we're going to say pass. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of McCartney 321. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second episode of this docuseries?
Yeah, I obviously would, but I just wanted to respond to Josh's comment that I already watched all 6 episodes. It was all that I could do last night to not watch the next episode right away. It's like when this episode ended, I was like, oh, that's it. And I was like, oh, dang, I have to watch this other show for this other podcast that we're recording at the same day. Just spoilers to pierce the veil of how we do these things. But yeah, so
I just want to say something.
I would have watched all 6 episodes, but I didn't have the time.
There is the illusion this is live, but the giveaway at the very beginning, you show a clip from a highlight from a funny woman maybe or something, so it gives it away. Like, I feel like we should have done spoiler alert, everyone watching.
That's the
oh my
crystal
goodness,
ball
everyone
move.
down below, mind blown. Their minds are blown right now.
Unless they were from the
Writing about it
beginning.
right now.
It starts off with a funny clip, and then you have your opening, whatever.
That's
and
the
then
edited prediction. It's live, you guys.
everyone.
It's live. Hi guys.
I'm just kidding. No, because I see that awesome comment. Oh, that's funny. Thank you for that comment. Oh, and the super chat. I'm sure. I mean, the super chat. That's
Thank you for the super chat, by the way, guys. That was really nice of you. Don't prove us wrong. Jen, would you watch the second episode?
My
so
cheeks
here,
lurt right now from
they
laughing.
hurt.
Sorry.
My stomach hurts. Got
Mine
some
hurt
abs
from
right now
sitting.
from that laughter. So I gave it an 8.5 because I think it was so well done. Like the way you said it, it was so well done. I don't think I would really change much, but I think because, and I do love the stories of like I said, I love hearing the before success stories and how things become successful. I love all that. So I was very intrigued by that. But the only reason why I didn't give it a 10 was because Josh knows me well. I probably am going to watch the second episode, but I'm not in a rush to. It's probably going to be oh, what do I have to, I have nothing to do right now. Okay, let me watch the second episode. When there's other shows when you had to stop yourself from watching the second. That's how I get with other shows. And with this, I was just kind of oh, okay. I definitely want to keep watching it, but it's not I'm not in a rush or I'm oh my God, I have to watch it. I have to see what happens next. So that's the only reason why I didn't give it a perfect score, because I do think it was well done, really well done. So
All right. Not enough dinosaurs. Got it.
So that's just the two talking. So that sounds like a yes, you would, just not enthusiastically.
just
or go
not
seek it out.
enthusiastic about it. Yes.
Okay. Josh, don't be a downer, jolly Josh. Sussman.
I think this would be great as a radio show or just listening to the audio. If I have it on in the background, I could be in the kitchen. I could be listening. I hear the songs. I hear the stories because it's not very visual. And if I'm walking back and forth in the kitchen, I sit, you catch a little bit. It's kind of like the news. You're mostly listening to it. And maybe it's oh, I want to see that part if I could tell they're showing a clip from something. But yeah, just as an audio thing, yeah, great music. How soon will I put it on the next one? I don't know, but I'm not opposed to it. It's not I won't. And your guys' tens are kind of contagious. And it's no, it is good. No, it's nice hearing stories. Maybe I'll get another salt and pepper gem. So I wouldn't sit on the couch to watch it. That's got other things to do. Maybe I'll try to do my workout routine and I could lift weights to have strong muscles like Ryan while I'm listening to some great music.
I don't know if it's
That's
a
my-
workout
That sounds like a no, though.
It sounds like a scrub,
it?
salt and pepper. No scrubs.
It does the
But-
audio.
TLC.
I would
That's
listen.
TLC.
Whatever.
I would listen to it. I would, but I can't think
You're
of any other show where you would say, "Oh, I'll just listen." Like, imagine if someone said that about Loki, "I'll just listen." No, there's so much visuals. NBA, but this one, do you agree? You could just listen to the audio and fully get it. Or
No.
do you? Does that
No,
make you
because I
mad?
enjoyed watching them dance and nod and like turning up the thing. And, like I
Okay.
enjoyed watching it personally. But Josh, this is not about us. This is about you. Would you watch the second episode of your own?
I'm
version?
in no rush. There's so much
No.
stuff out there.
So much to
Okay.
catch up on.
We're just
I
like-
understand why it hit you guys, because this is like somebody, like I knew the Beatles, I like their songs, and I love the story that I'm learning. But like, if it was somebody that hit me as deep as
Jeff
it hit
Goldblum.
you
If it was
Like
Jeff Goldblum,
like Jeff Goldblum.
3, 2, 1.
guys. Exactly. If it's Jeff Goldblum 3, 2, 1. No, like for instance, like Steven Spielberg, that's how he felt for me, not even a joke. And I saw his documentary and it was 3 hours. I couldn't get enough of it. Like I was just
Same.
going, right?
It was great.
But like, so I understand,
Incredible.
I completely understand how you guys feel. So I feel like if I knew maybe a little bit more about them, then I would feel the same way, kind of thing.
Well,
So
this is your chance
I get it.
to learn more.
And that's why I'm like, I'll probably keep going and learning more. Like I didn't dislike it. I just could feel even the way you guys were talking about him. I'm like, that's the way I talk about like Steven's awesome, actually. So
We're
You
not
two are the
mad at-
same.
we
we're not
are.
mad at you, Jen. You're allowed to have your.
No, we're not. I know you're not mad. I just wanted to explain.
I'm a
I
little
actually had
mad.
a dream. I actually had a dream about this podcast last night. On a loop, I kept dreaming that I woke up at 3. I woke up like right before the podcast was supposed to come on, no time. And I didn't watch.
Oh, you mean
the
6 p.m.
show
at night? Yeah.
at 6 p.m. So I kept dreaming that I kept waking up right when the podcast started and I didn't watch the show yet, and you all were mad at me. So it was really weird. I had that dream. I just had to throw that out there. I had that dream last night. So I must have been so anxious about
A lot
this.
of pressure. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure
Mhm.
involved in this podcast. We're
So
pretty
much
stern.
pressure. Mhm.
Well, Jen, you may be
Mhm.
surprised to know that it's my turn to tell everybody if I would watch the second episode.
I wonder.
Strangely enough, no, I would not. I got all of the enjoyment that I wanted. I just April Fools, you guys.
I was like,
Yeah.
you watched all of it. I was like, now he's lying.
Did I get you, Josh? Though I got you, Josh.
I'm
right?
too gullible. I'm a trusting person, and you did it very well. It didn't make sense. I was thinking Ryan is as weird as cardamom, but you got me.
Yeah, but also a 4 can be liked and a 10 could be like moving on. But yeah, no, I would watch it just because this is really very good, and to me, I think
For a
it
second
deserves
time, because you
to
watched it
watch.
all.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. I only watched the first episode twice, and I was not in the point where I needed to watch the second. Unlike Michael, I was very happy with what I got, and I was just like, "Cool, this is great. I'm looking forward to watching the next one when I decide to." Because they weren't really like connected to where I had to jump in. I was just very I feel like it's a gift. Honestly, it felt like a gift, and I'm very grateful that they made something like this. It's better than, say, like a documentary. To me, it's just a conversation between two guys that
Mhm.
and we get
So
to
they never
listen.
even introduce.
Maybe they
Oh,
will
Santa
second
Claus over
episode.
here.
I do like what I think Michael said it, how it's perfect timing too, because Paul McCartney's still alive. You get to get this from him now. So I thought that's a really
He's still
good.
sharp too,
Yeah, he's very sharp. Like when you
was
said he's
mentioned
like
before,
almost
too.
80 or whatever, I'm like, he's so sharp and like coherent and everything. And he, like I said, he goes back into it like if it was yesterday.
Yes,
So
it
it's like
is.
Yesterday.
Or
perfect timing.
scrambled eggs.
Yesterday.
Scrambled eggs. All right.
Mhm.
So we got to run, everybody. Everybody at home, thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining in on the fun with us. This has been a fun one. It's been exciting. If you want Josh and Jen back, let us know in the comments below. If you don't want Josh and Jen back, you'll probably get your wish. Just kidding. No, but we all love Josh. We all love Jen. But let us know. I mean, give them that positive reinforcement. Tell them we really like looking forward to seeing you guys. Wait, does that make sense? We really like having you and look forward to more.
Yeah.
Josh,
Do you want to
and-
see them together? Would you rather see them separately or with other guests?
Or like in the movie that Ryan's gonna produce to have us in. Remember?
Right. So remember,
yeah,
My Little
romantic
Pony,
comedy. Yeah.
My Little Pony 10 times in the comments below, or it's not going to happen. So that's about it. Everybody at home.
Ryan secretly wants to review My Little Pony, and
He does.
to admit it, and
No
he needs
chance.
your guys' help.
No.
All
I
right.
just figured it out.
So what I'm
He's
trying
like,
to say
I gotta get out of
is
here.
this podcast was hectic, but it doesn't matter because it was a great episode that we watched.
This podcast played while my guitar gently wept. Wept.
Aw. This podcast gave us some insight on Fallingtower history.
This podcast was really spicy in the best way possible.
Spicy words, spice words.
Mhm. All right, everybody. You know what to do. Just remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor and consider living kidney donation. And don't forget to watch the first of things.